hi again. Same mistake as before. Don't do this. And I mean it like A, it doesn't really look effective. B, you have absolutely no control on the weapon, especially if you'll be using heavier nunchucks or something. If you'll ever be doing any demonstrations in breaking something, this will not work. Nunchucks, whenever swinging, your aim is to always make sure it's straight. It's on the wrist. You do not roll it like that. You have a, if you do it like this, you will even have a problem stopping it. If you do it like this, changing the direction will be much quicker, much easier, and much simpler. Another thing that I'm pointing out is, I'll have to adjust the camera. That should be better. Yeah, still not. Okay, just a second. Another thing which you do, and I strongly disadvise, is this. It doesn't have any real combat application, actually it has none. Also, people I know who do it for shows always block their knees, they don't go down because they lose control, but even if you're not a guy, you don't want to do this, especially at the beginning. If you're using a heavier nunchuck and you lose control, you get distracted, you go for the knee. The striking power of a nunchuck is about 800 kilos per square centimeter. That will give you about 1,650 pounds to 1,700 pounds per half a square inch. Any injury here and you can say goodbye to kicking or doing anything impressive with your legs for a long time. As I said, this maneuver has absolutely no combat application. Something like this would, but I mean not combat application, but would look effective. But this, other than creating the risk of injury, gives you nothing. First master like the basic moves before you move on to that. It's not something you need to learn in the beginning, and it's pretty risky. Another thing that you do is the thing around the waist. Again, you roll pretty much your nunchucks around the axis. If you want to do it, sorry, my screen is switching off. If you want to do it, you either do it the way you would do it in combat, which would be this, or like the freestylers do it, hand roll. As I said, this, once again, you have no control. It has very little power. Pretty much somebody can stop this, whichever variant you use it in, with their arm. Most probably they won't even get bruised. This, on the other hand, every time it encounters a part of their body, gives you a guaranteed break. Plus, it's much quicker. You have much better control of the weapon. I know why you're doing this, because when I was learning nunchucks, I was doing the exact same mistake. Very simple reason, the ball bearing swirl. That actually has taken origin from a very silly thing. Originally, nunchucks did not have a chain. They're supposed to be on a rope. With the Bruce Lee movies, we started getting nunchucks on chains. They looked more effective. Well, I don't know the real reason, but that created a fashion. People started doing nunchucks on chains. The problem was that with nunchucks on chains, if somebody wanted to do something more effective looking, like the hand rolls, the wrist roll, and other things, especially if they were doing more maneuvers, the flips, the problem was that the nunchucks would sometimes, the links would jam. Now the solution adapted in Western countries was by the introduction of the ball bearing swirl, which actually had to lead to a complete change of the swinging style of the nunchucks in the first place, because the original Japanese style, or the one from Okinawa, you're supposed to hold the nunchucks like that. The only problem is the moment you no longer have a string, you have very little control on the weapon. This one works pretty much on its own. So to get better control, the hand moved here. The problem is the following. That pretty much a lot of people, once they're beginners and they don't have a good instructor, start doing this. Which, don't try to use it on a show, don't try to use it on a fight, don't try to use it the moment you start using heavy nunchucks. You're gonna hurt yourself, you're not gonna do anything really effective. So just an advice, as I said in the first video I commented on your first nunchucks video, always make sure the soft weapon is as straight as it can be, especially when you're moving it forward, or like whenever you're moving. The only time when it can be bent is when you're like this, or like this. That's just my advice. I used to do the exact same mistakes that you did. Later on I had an instructor, so that changed. And that's about it.